What's up guys, welcome back to Awesome Sauce Network. Today I've got a little bit of a project for y'all. It's just a simple PC build for my lovely father. Actually, wait, didn't you already build him a computer like a month or two ago, Kyle? Yes, I did, but here's what happened. Alright, I built him a computer, it's really nice, it still kicks ass, he likes it a lot, but then like a week or two after that, my mom's laptop started dying on her. It just started crashing. It's a Sony, it's a laptop, that explains everything. So basically she doesn't have a working system anymore, and my dad had the idea that he would donate the computer I just gave to him to my mom, and that I could build him another one. So I'm totally cool with that, because it means I get to build another system, yay! This one is going to be actually more powerful than the one that I had given him initially, so that's kind of exciting. But why don't we take a look at some of the components here. First off, well, before we do that, here's a look at his old system. We are going to be reusing some of the parts from here, including the 500 gig Samsung hard drive, as well as the optical drive. It is a combo drive. My dad insisted that an optical drive be in there, just in case he needs it. So we're going to be using that, scrapping the rest. Well, I wouldn't say scrapping. I'm probably going to do something with that CPU. I don't know, maybe make a little server. I don't know. Let me know what I should do with the CPU. So back to the parts. First off, let's start with the CPU. I wanted my dad to have a really fast quad-core CPU, so we've got a 4690 here. It is a non-K SKU. It is locked because my dad does not know how to overclock, nor does he intend to learn how to, so I didn't really see the point in paying the extra premium for an unlocked SKU. But that's going to go right in tandem with this H81M DGS R2.0. I hate this text. This type font is horrible. You can't tell if it's an O or a 0 or an S. I'm getting off topic. But it's an ASRock board, it's micro ATX, no need to go Z97 because we're not overclocking, we don't really need that ability, so might as well save some cash there. For graphics, I'm kind of skipping on the graphics. This is a 660 Ti. My dad isn't a huge gamer. He's not really looking to get into it too much. He plays like 1 or 2 games currently that aren't really graphics intensive at all, but I just wanted to throw this in there. This is probably way OP for his needs, but still, again, this is going to be a workstation build, so he's really going to need that processing power over the graphics power. But it's also PNY, I should mention that. 8 gigs of RAM, again, if he does decide to get into gaming, now that he can with that video card, I've given him 8 generous gigs of 1600 megahertz Vengeance low-profile memory kit from Corsair. Very nice, as well as a crucial BX100 SSD, 250 gig. This is going to be his operating system and programs drive, and as I said before, we're going to be using that hard drive for all of his files and data and things like that. And last but not least, we've got a Silverstone PS08. I think it's PS08. Maybe it's PS08. At least it's not POS8. That would be really unfortunate for Silverstone's marketing team to call it the POS8 case. Anyway, I'm getting off topic again. I'm just going to go ahead and shut up right now, and we're going to start building this thing. And oh my gosh, I drank too much coffee this morning. Alright, and here is our finished bit. Oh wait, nope. There we go. Alright, so overall the build went pretty smoothly. I will admit that there were a few complications, which I'll get to in just a moment. But first off, I wanted to give a little bit of rationale as to why I chose this case among the hundreds of other cases in this price point. I think it's around 40, 50 or 60 bucks. But first off, the dimensions were spot on for what we were looking for to fit in my dad's little cubby space where he keeps his desktop underneath his desk. So there weren't too many options there, but this one managed to fit with just enough room to provide about an inch on either side between the system and his cubby. Also, the I/O is actually on the front panel. It's not up top or on the left or right, which makes it really accessible. It kind of wouldn't have worked at all had it been anywhere else other than the very front. So that's another reason I went with this case. Additionally, it's got some kind of unique features for a very budget case, including a fully black painted interior. And another nifty feature of this case is that it actually does feature a removable dust filter. Look at that. Not bad, Silverstone. There's also a 120mm fan right here at the front intake included. It's fairly silent. The only issue is that when you put the filter back on, it becomes a bit more audible, just because the air is brushing or passing through the mesh, and that kind of creates a little bit of ambient noise, but it's not too bad overall. Now on to some of the hiccups here. So you see how we've got USB 3 at the front here? That's great. Good job, Kyle. Good thinking. But wait, where's the USB 3.0 20-pin header on the motherboard? Oh, there is none. Way to go, Kyle. I spoke too soon. So yeah, I picked a motherboard that didn't have a 20-pin USB 3 header, so I actually can't take advantage of these two front ports. Fortunately, I've bought an adapter. It's on its way right now in the mail from Amazon. It's a male 20-pin to USB Type A. It splits off into two Type A connectors, and you plug it in right here. You can route it out through the punch-out hole behind the case, and just plug in those two Type A connectors into those two USB 3.0 ports right there, and magically they become pass-through ports, and then you can once again use these ports at the front here. It's really up to my dad if he wants to do that, but I'm pretty sure that would make more sense than not, as he's not really going to be accessing the back of this case much at all, of this build much at all, once it's in his cubby. So I think that adapter will work out just fine for him. The other hiccup that I ran into was the actual CPU cooler. You can see I've got a stock CPU cooler here from Intel, which is what I introduced at the beginning of this video, but that wasn't the original plan. Initially, I had convinced my dad to pick up a Hyper 212 Evo. Unfortunately, I was unable to actually fit that cooler in here. I didn't happen to check the clearance parameters of this case, so it was sticking out. Maybe the top of the heatsink was sticking out like a centimeter or two. I did try mounting it, and the side panel just wouldn't fit on. So we've resorted back to the Intel stock cooler, which is okay for now. Again, lock skew is not going to be doing any overclocking. The only benefit of that Hyper 212 Evo would be the cooler temps, of course, and also a bit more silent operation, as the Intel stock cooler can get a bit noisy when it's under load. But for the most part, cable management was, I did the best I could. Honestly, there wasn't much that could be done, as there's very limited room behind the motherboard tray to route some of those cables. You probably saw from the time-lapse video that I was able to get some of the unused power supply cables behind there. They were fairly thin, so that wasn't too much of a problem. But for the most part, I enjoyed building this computer, and I hope you enjoyed watching me build it. I also did some benchmarks, just because why not, right? I figured maybe this has a video card in it, so maybe you guys want to see some gaming benchmarks. I didn't go too crazy. These were just some really basic vlog benchmarks. Let me go ahead and turn the aperture. Jeez, these cars passing by, ridiculous. But here we've got 3 games that I just benchmarked about half an hour ago. Hitman Absolution at high settings with 2x MSAA. Got an average of 52 frames per second with a minimum of 44. Bioshock Infinite ultra settings with diffusion, average 64 with a minimum of 18. And lastly, I tested GTA 5, the benchmark there, with a nice blend of normal and high settings, and 2x MSAA enabled, still yielded about 60 frames per second on average with a minimum of 22. Temps are looking pretty good with max CPU at 67 and 78 for our 660 Ti. So overall, job well done, me. Yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and pack this thing up, shut it down, and give it to my dad. Again. Yes, he gets 2 computers in like 1 month. He's a lucky guy. But that is going to conclude it for this video, guys. Thank you all for staying tuned and watching. Please toss me a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Leave me some love down below in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.